JayElias. We're here talking about not only Jay, but also community involvement that Dyer Lake does. Jay, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for coming here today. I appreciate the fact that you've come here.
Now, Jay, we met a couple months back, and there's a unique story behind how you ended up at Dyer Lake. Tell me the story behind that.
Well, my background is I'm a healthcare attorney. For many years in private practice in Rhode Island with offices in Massachusetts, and I represented hospitals, doctors, healthcare providers, home care agencies in their corporate, doing their risk management work, which means trying to avoid risk, and also in litigation-related matters when they would be sued. So very healthcare intensive, a lot of end-of-life care related, and I sat on a lot of ethics committees. But for purposes of this story, what was important was the fact that I've been a avid squash player. Squash is similar to racquetball for many, many years. And it just came to happen one day that I ended up playing a gentleman, and we were very comparably matched players. And we didn't talk on the court, both very competitive fellows. And after actually a couple of months, came to realize what his name was, and then that he was a funeral director. And I'd never known anybody in the funeral business in my life. And he just didn't seem to fit the mold of what my stereotype was of what a funeral director might be, let alone playing squash. Bottom line is it was Michael Lake, who is one of the owners of Dyer Lake. And we began playing squash regularly, became close friends, and over a period of time we started talking about the things that I do. I was on the adjunct faculty of Roger Williams University and at Western New England Law School. I taught health law and ethics courses, and I was very heavily involved in the community and volunteerism. And Michael's vision of what a local business should be and do for the community. And really, it was a couple of years of talking about I was ready for a change. The last of my 4 children was getting ready to move on to college. And we decided that we could create something very unique anywhere in the country by having me come here. And so I did, and I'm here full-time as an attorney. What I do here as an attorney is this. I don't have a private practice of law. I am here for every family who comes here, whether or not they're making prearrangements or whether or not someone has passed away and they've come here to make their arrangements. And I offer my services to them as a resource. I do not prepare specific legal documents or provide specific legal advice that would be inappropriate, but I'm a wonderful resource, and I'm available whether or not it's the day they come in or the next week or the next month or the next year to sit down, to give them some general guidance and direction. I'm also a wonderful reference for them and resource. I've come to network in the community with a lot of wonderful professionals, attorneys, insurance people, bankers, realtors, family, someone's passed away and they've left a home. And I make a lot of referrals. There's no financial gain to me. There's no fees involved. They are not charged anything by Dyer Lake. And on a weekly basis, I sit down with a number of families and just sometimes pour over their issues, their questions, and help guide them.
And
So,
it's like you said, no charge.
no charge. That's just one of the services we provide. The other thing I do is I'm responsible for the business organizational matters that go on here, along with the owners. And where you and I began to chat was about the fact that I am primarily responsible for all of our community involvement. And we really have always been a community-centered business. It's privately owned. It's one facility. We're not part of a corporate chain. And the owners and I share the philosophy that a community-based business owes to its community, a civic sense of obligation. And so that, coupled with my love of teaching and education and the fact I'm something of an energizer bunny that doesn't know when to stop, we are very actively involved in a lot of different organizations and programs here.
Which is, I'm sure, unique for a funeral home. Because usually you hear of businesses like banks and, you know, Walmart and things like that. So for a funeral home to get involved in the community and do what you do is unique.
And you know what it takes? Yes, in the country. And at first blush, it takes people by surprise. I host a monthly program free of cost here. Every month it's a different subject on personal wellness and awareness. Last week I had a program about staying sharp, mentally sharp. You know, we all know how important it is to be physically fit, but there are things you can do every day to stay mentally fit, whether or not it's doing crossword puzzles, whether or not, here's one for you, whether or not it's brushing your hair, brushing your teeth using your opposite hand, so you use a different part of your brain, whether or not you do some math problems by longhand, handwrite instead of using your computers, eat certain foods that are good for you, for your brain. And so I have a program here, and that was last month's. Next month, here in April, on April 28th, I have a guest speaker, and we're running a program on social media for adults, if you will. You know, we all think Facebook is for kids, and Twitter, what's a hashtag, and what's Instagram. And so we're going to run a program about that. In November, I ran a program called Protecting Yourself from Scams, Schemes, and Fraud, and I had a representative of the Bristol County District Attorney's Office, Better Business Bureau from Boston, a wonderful police officer from North Attleboro, Christine Cristal, who came, and someone from Bristol Elder Services, and we talked about all these scams that are out there. And when people come, and they come to my programs here or in the senior centers or at the libraries or wherever I do them, at first they're thinking, you're coming from a funeral home and you're talking to me about something that's living related. And then they hear me talk and they get to meet me and they realize that, you know what, a funeral home isn't just about dying and death. It's actually for the living. It's for those who, you know, whether or not it's our grief support, helping people assume a new normal in their life, whether or not it's the people who are planning for life going on. But there's a lot of life. So at first blush, people say funeral home, and you know, when you're talking about staying physically fit and mentally fit, why would you want us to?
Like a huge misconception.
Huge misconception that we go around hoping that people will pass away and that I'm there for that purpose, and nothing could be farther from the truth. So it's been a wonderful experience being able to really be let loose to be able to do those things.
And something interesting and unique, talking about the programs you do, you did something recently. You tried something new out at the Credit for Life Fair about scams with, whether it be the elderly, because that's a misconception that it's usually the elderly that get scammed. It's also college kids and everything.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
Program.
Well, interestingly, I had this program here on protecting yourself from scams, schemes, and frauds, and someone who is responsible for the Attleboro area Credit for Life Fair through the School to Career Partnership heard about it and knew someone who attended and thought, wow, we have this Credit for Life Fair, which is a high school related based program, and it teaches students in a one-day event, a fair. They're given a budget, and they go from booth to booth, basically having to pick a job and spend their money and budget it as you would a normal 25-year-old. And the woman who heard about my program thought, you know, what a wonderful thing to have students learn a little bit about some scams that are out there that are actually going to rob them of their credit or their money or affect their lives and their jobs. And so she asked me to captain the booth on safety and security. And there were about 450 kids from Attleboro, North Attleboro, Norton, and Foxborough who attended. And Christine Cristal and I spoke to them about how easy it is to to lose your identity. And one of the things we did simultaneous with running this little booth was we also had a raffle going on with somebody else who worked for us, who was on the floor at Wheaton College where this was held, soliciting kids' information to sign up for a raffle to win a free iPad. And some of the questions that they had to fill out on this little survey raffle form were their email, their birthday, their address, their contact information. And they freely gave it. And, you know, kids will pretty much do anything for a chance to get an iPad or actually some of the kids said, you know, they already have an iPad, but they'd love a new one. And so it was a great opportunity to teach them that, you know, guard your personal information a little bit better. And as a result of that, I've been asked to do the same program, but I won't be doing the raffle, so I'll be doing something else for the Sharon school system in May. So it's nice to know that we've made a difference and we're getting out there a little bit.
Well, I was going to say, the whole reason for doing the show and for what you do is community involvement. And there's nothing more than community involvement when you can get involved with other communities outside of the North Attleboro area.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're very involved in the Attleboro area. One of the things that I began was Attleboro has something called Adopt a Spot program. It's part of their beautification program. And so we've adopted several areas in Attleboro owned by the city that require upkeep and maintenance. And because of budget tightness in the economy, and we assume the responsibility for maintaining those areas. And that's in Attleboro. For example, I am doing this program in Sharon. I'm on the Keep North Attleboro Beautiful Committee. I know you've learned a lot about Keep North Attleboro Beautiful recently. And in May, we're going to have this Great American Cleanup. Last year, 3 tons of rubbish were collected from the roads. And so, yes, and I speak regularly to whether or not it's the Attleboro Council on Aging, the Plainville, the North Attleboro Councils, and I'm a member of the Hospice and Palliative Care Federation of Massachusetts. So I'm very involved in hospice programs. So it provides a wonderful forum for us at Dyer Lake to be part of the community in a positive way, and again, not in a funereal or death-related way.
Now, how important have you seen that the programs you run once a month are to the community? Because the turnout seems like it's usually really good. And is the feedback great from what you...
The feedback is terrific, and it almost brings a level of energy that those who attend then go back out in the community. And every month, it's a different program, but every month I have those who come regularly who bring someone new.
Really?
And that's how I know I think we're hitting home because they're new faces every month. And then they bring new faces. And we're accomplishing what we want to accomplish, which is offering to the community positive experiences and education. I'm all about education. However I can fit it in, I want to teach. And so I'm learning that we really are reaching a lot of people out there. We have people coming from the Cumberland, Woonsocket area as well to our programs, and that's nice to see.
That's amazing, and I know you do a lot of work. I mean, having met with you before, I mean, people come and you prepare them for it. You give them almost an outline of everything.
They get quite the handout. I prepare it and I bind it here, and there's always some interactive element to these programs, so that we have a DVD. Yeah, it's a full experience, and again, people don't expect it coming to a funeral home to walk away laughing, smiling, and saying, you know what, I didn't know that. It never occurred to me that you could, for example, brush your hair with your left hand instead of your right hand and develop your brain a little bit more. Wow.
Have you had people that were apprehensive to come to some of your presentations with that thought in mind that, oh, it's a funeral home, it can't be happy or a positive experience?
Yeah. Here's where the apprehension has been, and it's soon gotten over. I've had many people who come to our programs on the personal wellness and awareness who had buried a loved one through us. So they've been here for the visitation of a loved one or a funeral service. And when they come to the door, there's that wave of anxiety at first that the last time I was here was not for a good thing. And then they walk in the hallway and the fireplace is lit and the chapel is set up in chairs in a semicircle and fresh flowers and complimentary refreshments, and me, who's not a funeral director, who they may never have seen before, or they only know me in the context of these programs, and they're uplifting handouts. The DVD always is playing something uplifting in the background. And interesting phenomenon, if I can just tell you one, there was one individual who came reluctantly to my first program a couple of years ago. I've been doing this for about 2 years now, and sat, as the chairs are set up in a semicircle, sat in the farthest most corner of this circle in the back and didn't say one word. And I knew that this person had been there because they had lost a loved one and had come here for a service. And I know that they were having a hard time. And but they came. And not one word. And I kept my eye on this individual as I was speaking, and just to see the reaction. And there really was no reaction. And I thought to myself, I'll never see this person again. And the next month they came. And this is no storytelling exaggeration, but they moved up a row closer. And I saw once in a while, because these are uplifting programs, I saw a smile and interaction with someone sitting next to them. And I swear to you that this person comes on a regular basis, sits in the front row, interacts. They still may be experiencing a lot of grief in their life, but they've assumed maybe a new normal in their life, and part of it is coming to these programs and being able to laugh and interact and share. And so I monitored the success, my success, if you will, on the fact that they've moved from the back corner, not saying a word, to the front row, engaged, interacting, talking to others. So I think it's made an impact. I know if it has on that individual, it has on others as well.
I was going to say that must just be a great feeling to see that for you, knowing that, okay, I know I put a lot of work into these programs each month. Yeah. At least for that one person, if not more, it's paying off.
It is, and that's how I feel about it.
And that's where your passion's probably drawn from each month to do these things.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. The energy, I get energy from them, they get energy from me, and off we go. And not only do I have the programs here, but I take those programs on the road. I'm going to be doing that Staying Sharp program at the Plainville Senior Center, for example, the first week of May. On April 21st, I've been asked to run a program at the Mansfield Bank, in the main branch of the Mansfield Bank in the evening, on cyber security, protecting yourself, as a result of my being at the Credit for Life Fair, as a result of having the program here. And so I'll be in Mansfield doing the program. So it's really been very unique, because I consider myself to be something of a square peg in a round hole, and yet somehow it fits. And so so that's great.
I was going to say, it actually is a great partnership.
It's a great partnership.
Wonderfully for you and wonderfully for them. And you've opened new doors for what I'm sure they weren't doing before you got here.
Yeah, they were always involved in the community. You know, we've been, I think this year was the 19th year that Dyer Lake sponsored the Chocolate Lovers Stroll in downtown North Attleboro. 15 plus years of the Strut Your Mutt for the North Attleboro Animal Shelter. There have been things that they've always been, Dyer Lake always been involved in the community. It's become more educational oriented now, and so it's taken on a new flavor, and it's nice, because now it really isn't so much associated with the funeral home. It is Dyer Lake as a community resource. And so that's been exciting. That's been very exciting for us.
Which I think it's great out in the community, because like I said earlier, I think funeral home, and you kind of get a depressed feeling inside, and
Sure.
and then but now you're making people think, well, it's not depressing. There are elements that you guys do that are happy things, and that's really what you've set out and done.
Right. I've come to learn that the funeral business, yes, it obviously involves an element of death, but so do a lot of other businesses. I mean, the insurance business, your life insurance is all about when we die. There are a lot of medical practices that death is a reality of life. But what I think I'm trying to get out there saying is it doesn't define your life, and that the fact that we are a funeral business, we're here to help when the time is needed. But we don't wish ill on anybody. And what we want to say is all these things, all of our investment and interest in the community, when the time is needed, realize how invested we are. I do want to say one other program that's dear to my heart that I started. It's our butterfly release in July. And I had never been involved with the butterfly release before I began and planned this one. It's in July. I don't have the date specific yet, but there'll be plenty of advertising for it. And at Cape Run Park. And at no cost to any of the attendees, we just ask that they call and reserve a butterfly. We provide butterflies, hundreds of butterflies that are indigenous to this region. They come dormant in a little linen box. We have a beautiful vocalist or music accompaniment singing. I say some spoken words of meaning about butterflies in our life. It's not death-related. It's life-related. And last year, more than 400 people came, and we released hundreds of butterflies, 3 different varieties, and just a wonderful event. And I get a lot of people starting in wintertime asking, you're going to do it again? Yes, we're going to do it again. And if you've never been to a butterfly release, it's wonderful. You get to actually just hold a butterfly and observe it, and some of them will stay in your hand for 10 minutes before they fly off. Others will fly right off.
Beautiful, I'm sure.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. It's uplifting. It's fun. A lot of children, chasing the butterflies. So we give them little warnings first about once you catch them. But it's a great event, and I'm proud of the butterfly release too. That we here support that and sponsor it.
Well, I'm sure it helps a lot of people too, because I know, for instance, when loved ones pass away, you release a balloon into the air or something. Right. So this is a way to release a butterfly into the air for a loved one.
In a more environmentally friendly way, yes. A. And B, there's this great Native American lore that says that if you whisper to a butterfly before you release it, the words that you whisper will be sent to the heavens, and the great spirit beyond will hear them, and only they will hear them. And I tell that to the people who attend, and along with some other butterfly-related stories. And it's amazing. You see how many people are whispering to their butterfly before they let it go. And so that's heartwarming. And the other thing is, even when you were a child, one of the first times you ever heard of the word metamorphosis and change was with butterflies. And you know what? Life and death is all about change, and who knows what happens after we die. There's always change, and the butterfly lets us know that you can go from cocoon to butterfly. It can be a positive experience, and so who knows? So butterflies have always played a role in I suppose, in the funeral business and in death, but as they have life. I mean, a lot of butterfly releases for weddings, for example. So it's a wonderful experience. It'll be in July, and I hope to see a lot of people there.
There's a lot of underlying things that go into it. It's amazing.
Right.
So before we wrap things up, let's talk about, you mentioned that's in July. What other programs do you have going on in the coming months?
Well, the next one is social media in May. I'm sorry, in April. That's April 28th in the evening. In May, we're going to be doing a program that I haven't yet defined, I know I'm going to be speaking, as I said, in Mansfield and on cybersecurity, and I know if anybody's interested in going to that, it's free of cost, sponsored by the Mansfield Bank. It's at the Mansfield Bank main office. Just call the Mansfield Bank, and that should be really informative because we all get those emails that say, you know, click here, you have a virus, we'll help you correct it, and then you catch the virus. Or you've just won $100, thank you for shopping at Target, and then you've lost your computer.
There's always the good one where you've inherited money from a Nigerian prince or something.
Or I need your money desperately because I'm in need of help. So that's the program in Mansfield, and that's April 21st. And again, just a lot of exciting things down the road.
And July's
the butterfly release. That's right. And August we don't have as many programs in August, but every month we run a Dyer Lake Presents program here, and we, as I said, we advertise. What I would ask people to do really is I'm responsible for our Facebook and website, and they're very active, both the website and the Facebook. It may seem odd, but liking a funeral home on Facebook, it's something to get used to, but once you do, you realize it's all about the positive. But like us on Facebook, on our Dyer Lake Facebook, and it has all of our programs, and we love to hear from people what they're interested in doing, and I'm happy to model some programs on what the community is looking for.
Now, for people out there, can they just call you, or is Facebook the best way to get information? Or
they can call me at Dyer Lake. I'm always reachable. Facebook's a wonderful way. Email, I'm Jay, J-A-Y, at Dyer-Lakefuneralhome.com, or on the website. Just contact us. I'm very easily reachable. I am very approachable, very accessible, and I take seriously my love of community involvement and teaching.
I was going to say, people shouldn't feel hesitant to come to you.
Never.
Because you're very easy to talk to, and I'm sure you make people feel at ease.
Thank you. I think I do, and thank you, and that's part of what I enjoy.
Now, is there anything that we haven't touched upon you'd like to mention, whether it be about community involvement, about yourself, about the funeral home?
Well, I think one of the things that I really would like to just say to you is there really are people, me, the people who own Dyer Lake, Michael Lake and Tim Ney, who really believe that there is a civic obligation that we all have to giving in the community. Is it good for business? Sure, it's good for business. But is it better for the community, which in turn helps the business? Yes, it's better for the community. And so we really do have a deep underlying philosophy that we've been successful. We have an obligation to give back. People appreciate that. And it's sort of the circle and cycle of personal and professional life, and we take it very seriously. And I love using my health law background in what I do. And I appreciate the fact that people can come to know me and Dyer Lake and not think that it's got to be a depressing, dark, foreboding place. As you can see, it's anything but, and we're anything but.
It's a beautiful building and beautiful things that you guys do here, whether it be in the after or during, and that's wonderful.
Thank you. I never would have expected, it's one of those things in life you never know where the journey takes you. I would never have thought as a healthcare lawyer who plays squash that I'd end up doing this here.
Well,
but I love it.
It's funny. It really is a small world because this is a perfect fit for you, and who would have thought, you're right, by playing squash you would have met and found the perfect role.
Not me.
You must feel blessed.
I feel blessed, and I think it taught me the lesson that you never know where the journey takes you. And I try and teach that as I do all my courses. Keep yourself open to opportunities, and it can turn out wonderfully.
And thank you so much. And thank you